Now that you have a good understanding of the social media landscape and you've established your goals, KPIs, you have defined your target audience, and you understand the customer journey, there are only a few more steps you should take in preparation for your social media marketing. You want to select the right channels, so your message really gets in front of your intended audience. You also want to start thinking about who in your team will help you get the message out and how you can make it easy for people to know what you would like them to focus on. Now, we'll focus on those last steps, and by the end of this week, you'll be very well prepared to get started with your social media marketing. First, we'll draw the link between your understanding of the social media landscape on the one hand and your goals and understanding of your target audience on the other. Linking them together will let you decide which platforms you should choose for your social media marketing activity. I'll walk you through an approach that can help you in this process. Then we'll focus on how you can channel the energy and enthusiasm of other people in an organization that may want to participate in your social media marketing. You'll learn how to create a social media policy. And even if you don't plan to be the one who has to create such a policy, knowing how they are constructed helps to understand what kind of boundaries companies like to adhere to in their social media outreach. We will also take a look at how company blogs contribute to social media marketing and how you can use them to connect with your audience. And finally, it's time to start reflecting on your career and on how you want to use all your knowledge and new skills to benefit your career growth. A lot of exciting stuff, so let's start. We're almost ready to dive in and start our social media marketing efforts. So far, you've learned how to prepare by setting goals, determining the associated KPIs, defining a target audience, and how to map the customer journey. And you have a good sense of what the social media landscape looks like. There's one last important step a marketer needs to take, and that is deciding which social media platforms matter to achieve your marketing goals. You may be part of a business that has already established its social media presence, and they may already have chosen the channels they are active in. But you could also be the one who needs to make that choice. In any case, it's important to know what you should think about before deciding on the social media channels where you will interact with your customers. By the end of this video, you'll know what to keep in mind as you make this decision. First, let's take a look at this interview.
My name is Penny Berryman, and I manage social media for IBM Watson Health. IBM Watson Health is an essential data, analytics, and technology partner for the health industry. Watson is artificial intelligence, deep learning, learning to learn, and great capacity to mine data and make sense of it faster than humans ever can. IBM and the Watson Health team are an amazing place to work. There's opportunity for innovation, ideas, talent, and growth that I thought maybe only existed in words, but actually exists in culture. So my job on a day-to-day basis involves three main components. The first one is social listening. The second one is the preparation of posts. And the third one is the analytics of what we've done. So starting with the top one, social listening means that I'm going online to the three main channels I manage: YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And I'm looking at thought leaders. I'm looking at trends and hashtags. I'm understanding what's happening on that platform, what people are talking about, because that's going to matter for the second part of my job, which is preparing the posts. So I want to make sure that when I'm writing the posts and I'm working with the stakeholders, that we're putting content out that makes sense for the audiences on those platforms. So for preparing the posts, I'm going to work with product marketers who want to talk about a product. I'm going to work with the visual designers to come up with a graphic for the social post. And I'm going to work with our legal team to make sure that as a stakeholder, we are on brand, as well as in a health setting, there are certain types of content we put out that we have to make sure we're aligning on. So those three partners are the biggest part of the preparation stage. So visual designers, the content writers, and then of course our legal team as a stakeholder. So part of my job in that writing stage and preparing to post it is applying the social lens. So we know that social has a tone to it. If you're on LinkedIn, it's a little more businessy. You see fewer pictures of dogs and vacations. If you're on Twitter, it's like a microwave. It's fast, it's quick, people are responding, it's casual, lots of emoticons. So understanding the language and making sure that when we're going out on those platforms that we're matching it. So we get our message out, but in the right ways. And then the third part of my job is the analytics. So it's great to have wonderful content that looks good, people like it on the platforms, but at the end of the day, we still have to prove that social has value. And so in my job, I use several different platforms to look at how many people are engaging, how many people are clicking. When they're clicking, where are they going from there? Are they going to our website? Are they registering for the webinar that we want them to? Are they staying around long enough to do a second action on our website? So social really is the analytics side. It's not always clear cut what the value of it is. So part of the value for social is the conversation. It's called social media for a reason. And so it can be hard to say the value of this post that got 200 likes is that 200 people like us more. But really, you're also building relationships, you're building your brand. So it does matter, but you also have to be able to provide some of those harder numbers, which is this many people came to the website, this many people registered from the webinar because they clicked on our social posts. So the analytics is an important piece, perhaps a little bit harder than just the writing and the fun part, but it's equally as valuable and makes the case for why social is an important channel. One piece of the analytics that is growing in importance is the customer service piece. So this is a metric or one of the ways of measuring success on social, that if you have a complaint and someone names your brand, as a brand, you want to get on that. You want to be able to respond. You want to be timely. If someone has a question about something you've posted, you want to respond to it. And so setting up the right systems and knowing how quickly you're going to respond to questions and complaints and how quickly you're going to respond when someone mentions your brand in a positive way is also an important measurement that we look at.
Social media marketing is all about interacting and participating in a community. You can find that community on different platforms. But as you probably gathered from watching our interview, being active on social media takes time and effort. Not only do you need to create the content to post in the different channels where you are active, you should also respond to questions, interact with people on the platform, and try to be visible when there are trending topics related to your business or product. All of that takes time and effort. You can't be active on every platform. It's better to focus on a few social media platforms and concentrate your time and effort on participating there, rather than trying to cover all platforms and not having enough time to really interact with customers on each one of them. So, before you get started, evaluate your resources and keep in mind that it's hard for one person to manage a vibrant social following on more than 2 or 3 platforms. Time and resources will often force us to choose a few social media platforms to be active on. So you need to make that choice wisely, and we will help you with tips on how to select the social media platforms that best suit your marketing goals. To make the most of social media marketing for a business, it's important to focus on a few channels that are important to your audience. You'll find that being active and really engaging on all social media platforms is not realistic, so it's crucial to select the ones where you can have the most impact. So how do you do that? In this video, I'll walk you through 4 steps you can take to make your selection. Start with your marketing goal and evaluate what outcomes you hope to achieve through your social media activity. These typically fall into the following categories: brand building, generating awareness and interest, generating sales or sales leads, providing customer service, building community and customer loyalty. Different social media platforms focus on different things. Remember how we discussed the social media categorization from Fred Gavazza? This categorization can help guide you when you evaluate which platform may be best suited for your goal. When you're focused on brand building, publishing or sharing platforms can help. Showcasing your product on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or Pinterest, for instance, can help you raise awareness and interest. When your focus is on generating sales or sales leads through your social media marketing efforts, your interest may slightly shift to platforms that offer immediate shopping integrations, like Pinterest, Instagram, or TikTok, for instance. If you're focused on providing customer service, you may decide you need to be active on messaging platforms so your customers can easily communicate with you. WhatsApp or Messenger can help you in one-to-one communication, and X, formerly Twitter, is also often used for customer service purposes. If your focus is on building community, you may want to look at discussion or collaboration or networking platforms where communities interested in your industry hang out, or you might want to rely on Facebook, a platform where community is central. Understanding the nuances of different platforms will help guide your decision, but it's key that you keep in mind what your goal is. A next consideration is, of course, the audience you are targeting. We saw that the demographic profiles of the users of different networks vary, and you want to make sure that the platforms you choose are the ones where your audience is active. If you are going after younger audiences, you may want to take a look at platforms like Instagram, TikTok, or Snapchat, for instance. If you're focused on reaching professionals, LinkedIn or Facebook may be a better choice. Here is our overview of the reach of the largest platforms among different demographics. But I suggest that if you get a chance, you ask your target audience which social media platforms they use most. While it's very important that you focus your attention on platforms your audience uses, it's also important to think about the typical content format in those platforms. YouTube is all about video, Instagram is about images, and so on. Ask yourself, what kind of content can I share? Is it easy for me to create videos, images, and what type of content will best feature my product? Say you are a fashion brand. Instagram or Pinterest may be interesting platforms for you. But if you're selling software, it may be a bit harder to imagine a Pinterest board that works well for your product. If you are a DIY brand, it may be very easy for you to create how-to videos, a type of content that performs really well on YouTube. If you sell a complex product that is rooted in research, you may opt for sharing white papers and explainer videos on LinkedIn, for instance. You get the picture. Use your understanding of the different social media channels to decide on where your content would best fit. After taking your goal, your target audience, and the content you plan to share into account, you will probably have narrowed down the set of social media platforms that could work for you. As a final step, it's worth taking a look at what your competitors are doing. Where are they interacting with customers? And what are they sharing? Check out their Facebook page, their X and Instagram accounts, and so on. Evaluate where the conversation is happening. You probably want to be part of the conversation in those places. Let's go back to James at DCB Cleaning. James is selecting the social media platforms he'll use to talk about Snackwall. Let's see how our 4 steps could help James make this decision. Remember James's goal. He wants to see 25% of the current DCB Cleaning Service clients subscribe to the new Snackwall service in the next 6 months. To do that, he needs to create awareness. Since James's company is already active on Facebook, it seems like a natural place to start. James knows that his target audience is typically active on Facebook. They're professionals between the ages of 35 and 55. But James is interested in adding another channel. He believes there's opportunity for his team to expand their activities. James believes that Snackwall offers some interesting opportunities to create image-based content. He believes that funny office live pictures featuring the snacks could grab attention. So he's thinking about adding Instagram to the mix. He knows that Staples is quite active on Instagram and he likes their approach. He has also seen another few accounts of competitors on Instagram, so he decides to give that a shot. Why not LinkedIn, you might ask? After all, James is going after a professional audience. Well, James decided that with the image-rich content he has in mind, it's better to go to a platform where images are key and where people are browsing through content to be inspired. And while LinkedIn indeed focuses on professionals, James knows that the professional crowd he's after is also a user of Instagram in their personal lives. So that's what led him to focus on Instagram instead. As you can see from this example, the 4 steps we walked through can help you choose the best social media platforms for your marketing activity. In some cases, several platforms could work for you, but limited time and resources may require that you focus your energy on the platforms that you feel are the best fit for your audience and your product or brand. Once you've selected the social channels you'll be active in, there is one more thing you should think about. Who will manage them in the company or in your team? And what policies do you need to put in place to manage them well? We'll teach you how to put those policies in place. For businesses, social media marketing is a powerful way to grow your online presence. Consumers today expect brands to be present on their favorite social platforms, as many consumers buy products from brands they follow on social media. Now, more than ever, brands must engage, and businesses know that employees can be a real asset when you're trying to get the word out. They have their own social media accounts, and they offer a way to reach more people. But to make employees into real advocates, businesses must ensure that they understand what the business is trying to accomplish. And no matter whether someone posts in an official capacity or on a personal account, it's important that they use the appropriate tone and messaging and that they know what to avoid when talking about the business on social media. So whether a business is creating content for its website or blog, engaging with customers and potential customers in real time on social channels, or benefiting from the power of its audience, employees and other influencers to spread the word about their product or service, it's important that they establish and follow a set of social media policies everyone can understand. In this video, I'll walk you through an approach you can use to create a policy that directs your organization's social media strategy. Although companies often focus their social media efforts through a social media marketing professional or team within their organization, studies have shown that a lot of people rely on the information that comes from regular employees. This means their payroll clerk, frontline customer service rep, or network administrator may have the power to significantly impact their brand's reputation. With a little training and clear guidelines, it's no surprise that employees can be a brand's greatest advocates and sources of influence in helping to amplify their company's social media marketing strategy. However, when the boundaries between social media interactions for business or personal become blurred, it can cause confusion and potential risk. Companies want to be sure that an employee's posts will not expose the company to legal problems or public embarrassment. Therefore, when inviting employees to participate in a company's social media efforts, it's important to first set the ground rules by establishing a social media policy and ensuring it's firmly in place. Let's take a look at the social media policy of retailer Nordstrom. They post their social media policy on their website, so anyone, even people who don't work for the company, can see it. Here it is. The policy starts by specifying that only people trained by Nordstrom can post on the official Nordstrom account. So there's a group of people that's trained to post on X, Instagram, Facebook, and so on. Those people would be social media marketers. Then the policy gives some information on what employees cannot post. employees often have sensitive information that the company does not want to make public. So it's a good idea to specify clearly what people shouldn't talk about. Next are some lines about respecting customer privacy and avoiding disparaging comments about coworkers and vendors. Then, Nordstrom makes it clear that employees can be held legally responsible for what they post, so they should make sure that they stay within the company guidelines. One of the guidelines is a guideline for endorsers, which states that employees have to disclose that they are affiliated with Nordstrom and they have to make it clear that their views are their own. Next are specifications around conflict of interest. For instance, employees cannot use their social media profiles to promote a competitor. Posting contests on social media is popular, but Nordstrom does tell its employees here that they need to get approval before running a contest or a promotion. And finally, Nordstrom recognizes that any activity on behalf of the company should be valued, and they state they will pay employees to talk on their behalf in social media, at least if approved. A social media policy is meant to achieve three core things. First, it must empower employees. A social media policy should encourage employees to get involved in sharing important company messaging with their personal and professional online networks and give them the confidence to do so appropriately. In our Nordstrom example, employees are given clear guidelines, and Nordstrom encourages participation by reinforcing that employees will be compensated for their work. Next, it must protect the brand. It helps protect a company's online reputation. A social media policy for a company sets the guidelines, rules, and responsibilities of employees when they post and comment on social media networks, whether it's on their personal profiles or on company-owned accounts. It tells employees what tone and voice you want them to use when interacting with customers, which helps protect the brand's image. In our example, Nordstrom referred to company guidelines that can help employees to represent the company in a way that doesn't harm the brand. Finally, it must guard against legal risk to the organization. Businesses deal with legal restrictions and different policies they need to adhere to: privacy, financial regulations, data security, and so on. Providing guidance for what employees can and can't say reduces the risk for them and for your organization. Nordstrom's policy gives clear legal guidelines, and with this information, employees can feel more confident that their participation falls within the guidelines and does not put them at risk. Now that we understand the reasons for having a social media policy, let's look at the steps you can take to create such a policy. While different companies include different things in their policy, these are the steps I suggest you follow. First, list the official social media accounts for the company and ask employees to follow them. For example, a company may have a LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram account, and another may have X, YouTube, and Instagram. Having a list and a short description of how they're being used can make it easier for employees to find them and use them appropriately. And by following the accounts, employees will get a good sense of how you like to talk about the business on social platforms. Next, help employees understand who is responsible for what, and specify which responsibilities individual employees have. Here are the steps you can take. Specify who's responsible for posting on company accounts. If you have a social media team, provide their contact information. Communicate that employees can talk about the company in their personal accounts, but that they should do so in a responsible manner that is consistent with the brand's image. Tell employees they should disclose who they are and where they work when posting about the company. Clearly specify what people can talk about. Tell employees what's considered confidential information. Provide clear examples of what can be shared. For instance, you can tell employees that news about product launches or official press releases can be shared. For important announcements, consider creating sample posts that employees can post on different social media platforms. Make it very clear to employees what can never be shared, like internal communications, financial, or other proprietary information. Some industries, like pharmaceuticals for instance, have strict regulations when it comes to disclosing information or promoting products. If that's the case for your organization, you should tell employees how this affects how they communicate on social media. Focus on how you want employees to talk on behalf of the company. Some people refer to this as the tone of voice that's used on social media platforms. Common guidelines include: be honest and polite. Make sure to cite your sources. Don't post negative comments about people or competitors. Remind employees that what they post on social media is permanent. Even if they delete a comment later on, someone may already have taken a screenshot, so it's a good idea to give some thought to what you post. Here's an example from Intel's social media policy, where they refer to what they want employees to keep in mind when participating in social media. Don't slam the competition or Intel. Play nice. Anything you publish must be true and not misleading, and all claims must be substantiated and approved. Finally, recognize that mistakes happen and provide a plan for dealing with conflict, negative interactions, or a real crisis. It's a good idea to provide clear direction on who to alert and what process to follow for reporting negative interactions. The company should also designate people or departments who are responsible for helping to manage the situation. Include contact information and encourage employees to immediately share any issues they see. It's important that the company tries to discourage people from reacting to negative messages. Always better to forward those to people who are trained to deal with them. Following these steps will help educate and enable employees who would like to participate and talk on the company's behalf in social media. And it will help to protect the company. For many companies, their blog is a vital part of their social media strategy. Now, you may think of a blog as something an individual creates, like a fashion blogger or a chef who blogs their recipes. These blogs often allow readers to purchase sponsored products through the blog post. But did you know that most companies have a blog? They may not call it a blog. For example, Apple refers to their blog content as newsroom and stories. Other companies may use terms like trending or resources. Let's look at the role blogs play in companies' social media strategy. Blogging allows a company to educate, entertain, and engage with their audiences. It can be a place for them to more fully tell their story, and with some guidance, it can be a way for employees to lend their voices. In many ways, blogs act as a bridge between a company's website and their social media accounts, housing content that companies can share in posts, which in turn drives traffic back to its website. By the end of this video, you'll know the difference between a blog and a website, blog best practices, and how to set up blog guidelines to help employees share perspectives, organizational and industry news, and invite commentary. Blogs are a type of website, and although they can sometimes stand alone, they're most often a part of a company's traditional website. But there are some differences in the nature of the content you'll find on a website versus a blog. A website's content is static. It changes infrequently. The writing on websites is typically more formal or professional. The content tends not to be interactive. For example, you cannot comment on everything you read on a website. And websites often let you transact, or in other words, you can buy products and services on some websites. Blogs, on the other hand, are more dynamic. New content is added all the time. Content on blogs is organized in reverse chronicle order. The most recent posts or articles appear first. The content is typically also a bit more informal, and it's meant to engage, and readers are encouraged to comment or share the content. Blogs themselves are not focused on selling products, or at least the actual transaction typically does not happen on a company's blog. The bottom line is that a company's website and blog go hand in hand. Websites tend to focus on commercial functions. They are used to generate leads, sell products, or present information about a product or service to customers. Blogs are inherently social. They encourage conversation and interaction. With these social sharing benefits, a blog can help a company to expand its audience and start a dialogue. Here's an example of a company blog from Teleflora. Teleflora is an online flower business. They call their blog Floral Facts and Inspiration and use it for anything from tips on how to arrange and keep flowers to the meaning of flower types to how to write sympathy messages. The blog content is meant to engage readers and they can comment and share. As you can see, you cannot buy flowers from the blog page. That is what the website is for. Another company that actively posts to their blog page is Thrive Cosmetics. Thrive partners with organizations to support communities in need, such as breast cancer survivors, veterans, or families facing homelessness. Some of the women they have encountered while doing this work have even become namesakes for products. Their blog tells the stories behind the women whose names inspired a new color in their popular cosmetics line. One of the big advantages of having a blog is that you can add content to it without the need to know how to code. Tools like WordPress or Medium, for instance, are easy to use and let you write and publish your personal or business blog posts in minutes. Now let's talk about the benefits of blogging for a business. Blogging can be a way to make your brand's personality shine and make authentic connections with your audience. Companies who use their blog to lift the curtain on the people and stories behind their products are able to connect at a deeper level with their audience. Customers want to know and love the brands they do business with, and blogging is an excellent way to let them get a glimpse behind the scenes. This helps them get a clear sense of your corporate standards, business identity, and the vision of the company. Nurture relationships with new and existing customers. Blogging not only provides the opportunity to attract new customers who may look to a company's blog to learn more about a product they are interested in, it may also re-engage existing customers who already know and love the brand and value the content they find here. In addition, the ability to read comments from blog visitors and respond is a great way to build trust and learn about your customers. Expand your content's reach. One of the blogging's most noteworthy benefits is the opportunity it creates for others to share links to your blog posts on numerous social media platforms. When others share your content on social media platforms such as Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and X, it can amplify your message and send visitors your way. So, not only does a blog serve to provide original and engaging content for all of your social platforms, but it also helps drive traffic back to your website and could lead to exponential business growth. Search engine optimization, or SEO. Search engines like Google rank content for quality, length, relevance, and recency. Blogging is an efficient way for a business to give these search engines what they want. When a business creates quality, keyword-rich blog posts frequently, it gives search engines fresh content to add to its database, and that will help boost the company in search results pages. Businesses who are skilled at inserting keywords that matter to them into their posts are likely to rank higher and improve their chances that their posts will show up in relevant search results. Build credibility. Businesses can use their blog as a platform for sharing their expertise and establishing themselves as thought leaders in their industry. This not only builds trust with customers and potential customers, it can lead to important networking opportunities and improved SEO as other blogs and websites share your posts and link to your content. Done consistently, posting valuable content helps elevate a company as a trusted resource within their industry, leading to more visitors, more potential customers, and more sales. Of course, to reap the benefits of having a blog, it's important that a blog is well managed. So, what does that mean? There are 4 key elements you need to have for an effective blog. First and foremost, you need quality content. Keep in mind that blogs should engage and establish expertise, not self-promote. Like other forms of social media, blogging is all about connecting with people and communicating your story. It's not a medium for one-way communication. Blogs can help you improve the search rankings for your products, but in order to achieve that, it's important to use keywords that matter to you throughout your blog posts. As with all content, if you want to engage readers, you need to make sure the content is tailored to them. Write about things that you know matter to your target audience. From entertainment to discounts, inspiration and education, if you post content that matters to your audience, chances are much higher they'll comment and share. In other words, they'll engage. Finally, pay close attention to readers' comments and questions. Monitor the conversation and be sure to react or respond. Let's go back once more to Kala and Ivy. Remember that Imra is interested in launching a website so she can start selling flowers online. We saw how it is Imra's goal to get 10,000 website visits during the month of May. Imra realizes that in order to achieve that, she will need to generate some awareness for her website. She plans to post on social media, but she also realizes that it could be cool if she could link in some of her social media posts to some longer articles with information that's helpful to her target audience. So she decides to add a blog to her website. Imra thinks this will be a great way to convey some of the fun and friendly atmosphere she's been able to create in her local store. She plans to write about her love of flowers, explain some of the techniques she uses to make bouquets. She also wants to educate her audience a bit on how to care for fresh flowers, something she usually does in the store, but she wants to make sure people online can benefit from her advice too. She also wants to provide some behind-the-scenes content, and she wants to invite some of her employees to write their stories too. She's even thinking about having her main flower supplier, a local flower farm, to do a guest post. I think these all seem like great ideas, and they can align well with our 4 best practices for blogging. First, Imra will need to make sure her content is of high quality, but the topics she's thinking about are spot on. They're helpful, fun, and not overly promotional. As Imra writes these posts, it's a good idea for her to include keywords that matter to her. Those keywords could be features that are unique or typical for her products. For instance, she could try to include the keywords bouquet binding, flower bouquets, cut flowers, etc. Those would be the types of keywords she would like to be associated with, so that when people type them in the search engine, her content comes up as a result. Imra's blog should appeal to her target audience. Remember, Imra targets 30 to 55-year-old women in the Netherlands with an interest in design, fashion, and sustainable living. The content Imra is planning will be quite interesting to them. Finally, Imra will need to make sure that she monitors her blog. Once she posts content, people can comment and share her posts, and she will want to make sure she responds to the comments. That way, her blog will really become a tool for her to connect with her audience. Imra at Kala and Ivy plans to have her employees contribute to her blog. You'll find that in large companies, it's also common to have employees contribute. Employees can be a great source of varied voices for a company blog. But as with other social media activities, there may be questions or concerns about how to handle employee blogging, whether on the company blog or an employee's personal social sites. Including policies and best practices to guide employee blogging efforts as part of a comprehensive social media policy can help protect a company from potentially embarrassing or damaging posts, but can also help employees post with confidence and increase the chances that they will be willing to do so. Here are a couple of examples of how big companies have approached their blog policies. HP blogs are written by a variety of employees at different levels and positions in the organization. Here's an excerpt from HP's blogging code of conduct that references confidentiality, stating, "Our standards of business conduct will guide what we write about. So there are some topics we won't comment on, such as information about financials, HP intellectual property, trade secrets, management changes, lawsuits, shareholder issues, layoffs, and contractual agreements with alliance partners, customers, and suppliers." Adidas's policies are a little less formal. They remind employees that they're responsible for the content they post and that posts online are essentially permanent, telling employees you're responsible for the content you publish on blogs, wikis, or any other form of user-generated media. Please remember that the internet never forgets. For any company that starts a blog, it's a good idea to put some policies in place. And if you work at a company that has a blog and they ask you to contribute, check out the policy to make sure you stay within the company guidelines. We'll refer to blogs again when we talk about managing and planning your social media content in our next course. For now, it's good to remember that blogs are different from websites. They offer a great opportunity to engage and interact with your audience, build authentic connections, and they can also help you increase your search rankings. Of course, it's good to put some thought into what you post. Choose for content that will appeal to your audience, but don't overly promote. And make sure to monitor your blog so you can respond in time to comments from readers. Blogging can be really rewarding and fun, so you may want to give it a try. Congratulations! You finished the first course in the social media marketing program. I know we threw a lot of information at you, but you're now very well prepared to start creating and managing content in social media. You know how social media developed and how people and businesses can use it to connect. You also understand the broader landscape and you know how to determine the type of social media platform that suits your marketing needs. Now you know the basics of how the main social media platforms function and can create content that fit these platforms. And you can lay the foundation for your marketing by developing a SMART goal, setting key performance indicators, defining your target audience, and describing their customer journey. You also know how to find the right social media channel to get your message in front of your audience. You've also learned how to develop a social media policy should you need one, and you know how to use a blog to engage your audience. Yes, that's a lot. You're well on your way to becoming a social media marketer. In the next course, you'll learn how to set up your social media presence and how to create and manage content for your target audience. I hope to see you there. Now that you're ready with this course, what's next? Well, I hope you're excited to learn more about marketing with social media. This course is part of a larger program that prepares you for jobs in social media marketing. It consists of 6 courses. Now that you understand the basic principles of social media marketing and have learned about the different platforms, it's time to establish your presence on these platforms. In the next course, Social Media Management, you'll learn how to create a business profile and how to create and manage content for your company that will help you build a following. After that, you'll be ready to start exploring advertising on social media and will more specifically cover advertising on the Meta platforms. You'll also learn about measuring and evaluating your success. In the final course, we won't cover anything new, but you'll get to practice your new skills in a project and will help you get ready for the Meta Digital Marketing Associate Certification exam. In the meantime, if you would like to get ready to apply for a job, we have created a course that will help you determine what you're looking for in a new job. Write your resume and cover letter and plan for networking and outreach to help you land your new role. You'll find all the links to the courses in the reading that follows. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the course you embark on next.